Hello and welcome back to Bison Talks Impact, brought to you by the Total Nonstop IMPACT Network on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and wherever you listen to your favorite shows. I am your host, Bison, and today I am joined by the one and only former TNA World Champion, former Grand Champion, and soon to be Impact World Champion, the wrestling god, Moose.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to be on the show.
Hey, man, it's really great to have you on the show, to be honest, Moose. And to be fair, I think it could potentially be boosting my ratings, obviously, with your godly status. So I'm really excited to have you on. Now, first of all, I just wanted to thank you on behalf of the entire Impact fan base for re-signing the contract to stay with Impact Wrestling for a further 2 years, I believe. So thank you ever so much for doing that. I know that the fan base really appreciate it.
And like, how do people even know this like, get this? Like,
How?
It's so weird, like how people hear this news or rumors, and that's just weird to me. But
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But let's just say, if that is the case, I'm excited because I want to see where it all goes. So that's fantastic. Now, can I ask? I mean, if it is the case, why you decided to continue and stay as Mr. Impact Wrestling? If it is the case, obviously.
The way I would answer that question is, no matter where I go or how everything plays out, I'm always going to be known as Mr. Impact Wrestling, regardless. So if I leave today, I'll be known as Mr. Impact Wrestling. If I stay 2 more years, I'll be known as Mr. Impact Wrestling. I don't think that name would ever leave. I think every time you say that word, those 3 words, Mr. Impact Wrestling, only one man's name comes up to your head. So
I must admit that is true. That is true. There is no doubt about that. As soon as that word comes up, I certainly think of Moose every single time. What was it like fighting Kenny Omega at Daly's Place instead of, in Nashville? And what was it like being back in front of a small, but what seemed to be quite an appreciative audience?
It was definitely, it felt, wrestling Kenny at Daly's Place felt like when I was in the NFL and I played an away game. But it was so weird was the fans were actually rooting for me to win the match, which that was very, very, very weird, because that was his home. But yeah, and it was definitely I would say different than wrestling at the Impact Zone with no fans, because there was only like 30 people out there, but it was a good rowdy 30 people, and yeah, so that was definitely different. But I do a good job tuning everything out and focusing on the task at hand. So once the match started and the bell rung, I didn't even pay attention to the 30 people out there.
I have to say, I think it was certainly a very pro Moose crowd. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. Now, talking about an audience, on July 17th, you'll be fighting former Impact Tag Team Champion and TNA World Champion Chris Sabin at Slammiversary. Do you have a message for Chris? And can you give us your thoughts on this matchup?
The only thing I would say, Chris, he better bring his A game, because he's not wrestling just a regular man. He's wrestling a god, a wrestling god. So definitely better bring your A game, because as he already knows, and I've heard him say in some of his interviews, I'm very different. I'm a different kind of evil. I'm a different kind of monster. And how do I feel about Chris? I think Chris he's awesome, man. You kind of said it yourself. He's a former world champion. He's a former multiple-time tag team champion, multiple-time X Division champion. He's almost a Grand Slam champion at Impact. He's just only one title he hasn't won, and that's the King of the Mountain championship. So he's spectacular. He's awesome. He's a great technical wrestler, but there's only one wrestling guy to Impact, so all that accolades don't mean shit.
Very true, very true. I must admit, I know that all of us at Total Nonstop Impact are very excited about this match coming up. You know, if initially we were a little bit confused how it all kind of came about, then as it all started to come back from obviously what had happened a few weeks previously, we then started to understand what was going on. So we're actually really, really excited and looking forward to this match, definitely. Now, once obviously you have dealt with former world champion Chris Sabin, I assume you once again will be straight, you know, getting those sights firmly back on the Impact World title. Who do you think will leave Slammiversary as the world champion, and why?
Oh, that's hard to say, man. Because if you look at the matchup between Sammy and Kenny, Sammy is very unpredictable. He's liable to hurt anybody either by accident or on purpose. That's just what he does, and history have showed that. Then you have Kenny Omega, a guy who he's very skilled in the ring. He's skilled at what he does, but I think the best thing about Kenny is not actually how good he is in the ring, is the tools he has, the physical bodily tools that he has. With he could have the match be a 2-on-1 at any moment. He could have it be a 3-on-1 at any moment. He could have it be a 4-on-1 at every moment. He could even have Don's corny ass in there, make it a 6-on-1 if he wants to. So yeah, that's the best tool that Kenny has in his pocket, and I had to deal with that. And obviously, I came up short because I never suspected that the Young Bucks was even in the arena. And is Sammy skilled enough to beat Kenny Omega 1-on-1? 100%. But the problem is this going to be a true 1-on-1 match, or are they going to have people interfere? If that's the case, I think Kenny still retains.
Okay, so you're gonna go with Kenny then?
As much as I want to go with an Impact guy, I have to be smart because I know what I dealt with. And Kenny is always going to try to find a way to make it a handicap match. And
yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
He's proven that if you watch his last 4 or 5 championship matches, he's proven that's what he does. He finds a way to make it an uneven atmosphere for you. So I think that's what he's going to do again. I think the only way Kenny lose those titles if you ban or everybody from ringside, and that's not the case right now. So I would have to go with Kenny.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So now taking it slightly away from that, there has been much speculation over the past few months on who could turn up at this year's Slammiversary. I mean, obviously we had a few people turn up last year, so it's going to be interesting to see who turns up this year. Who would you like to see arrive at Impact Wrestling, and how would you welcome them into the company?
Honestly, I'm probably the wrong person to ask that question because I don't even know who's available to arrive to the company, because I don't keep up with the news on who's out there and what's going on and the whole nine. So I have no idea. I mean, if you ask me, I'll say The Rock. I want The Rock to come up. Is he available? Like, but so I don't know who's available to come. So yeah.
Okay, no worries. Now, much has been said about your transformation over the past few years. Physically, you're definitely in the best shape of your life, and mentally, you seem to be very much focused on that world title. How much of a part did the feud with EC3 have on the focus you now have?
It definitely had something to do with it. I mean, EC3, the Control Your Narrative feud definitely changed the way I look at things, or maybe I wouldn't say it changed how hard I worked. It changed how hard I worked at certain things. Because I've always been a hard worker when it comes to working out in the gym and doing my cardio. But one thing I never focused on was like one thing I remember talking to Scott D'Amore about this. Like, for the last 5 years of my career, I let my talent take me to where I was, and I never really did the little things as to working on my body to look like a professional wrestler. I just I'm athletic. I could do this. I could do that. I have a high drop kick. I pick up stuff fast. That's all I need to be a great wrestler. But working with EC3 kind of like showed me that lifestyle of how to eat properly and like how to keep a diet and like how to be consistent with your diet and how just the little things like and that's pretty much how I got the physical change and now I look like a complete wrestler like and I'm proud enough to say that before I didn't look like a complete wrestler. I just looked like a guy who just made it by his talents alone. But now you can tell I'm definitely putting the extra work that I didn't do in my first 5-6 years or in the business. But yeah.
Well, I have to say, I think you look fantastic, and clearly you could see that you're putting in the time, you're putting in the work, and like you said, you're working on your diet and everything. You look absolutely incredible. One thing I wanted to say was, how much input did you have in your entrance? Because I have to say, for me, your entrance, whether it be the music, whether it be the lighting, the way that you sort of kind of, present yourself, is probably the best entrance in pro wrestling today. So how much input did you have in that? Or, was it all you or was other people involved in creating that?
I mean, I had most of the input, but our top production guy, Eric Tompkins, definitely had a lot to do with it. Like I told him my idea and he brought my idea into fruition, and that's what he's great at. And he does that to pretty much everybody. When they have some kind of idea of what they want to happen, he turns that idea into reality. And he's definitely one of the best producers. And I don't even know what his job title is, but he's definitely the top producer or whatever Eric Tompkins does at Impact. He's the best in wrestling at doing it. That's what I would say. And I just don't know what title he has, but he's definitely great at his job. But yeah, wait till you see what I'm doing this Slammiversary. I'm sure it's going to be it's definitely going to be a special moment for me. I'm sure the fans are going to love it. So we'll
fantastic
see.
Fantastic. Now finally, do you have a message for whoever leaves Slammiversary as Impact World Champion?
I mean, I feel like whoever wins the championship already knows what's behind and what's coming next. So I don't need to threaten them with any message like, "Oh, hey, I'm coming. Watch out for Moose. Moose is going to stalk." They know who's already out there and who's stalking that championship and who wants it badly. So I don't need to scare them with any message. They know.
Okay, fair enough. And to be fair, I think you're 100% right there. Now, well, unfortunately, I think that's all we've actually got time for today. But it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, Moose. And I, for one, am looking forward to seeing you and Chris Sabin go at it July 17th at Slammiversary live with an audience, and also on pay-per-view via the FITE TV. Please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to the TNI network, make sure that you hit subscribe, smash the bell to never miss this or any great impact related content coming out each and every week. All that said, I have been Bison, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the wrestling god known as Moose.